Hey everyone, welcome to our final day of our first recovery week so far through this series. We are going to be using the roller again, going through a nice complete roller session, foam rolling session for that fascia. But we are going to start off with a little bit of core and flexion, get the muscles going first. As I've been talking to you about, I still want to keep that core going strong. I feel, and I hope that you feel too, just such a better awareness, better core flexion, contraction, and concentration of those muscles, deep interior and even topically. So start at the back of your mat. I am going to enjoy being barefoot today. Have your big toes be straight ahead, and then your heels a little bit to the right and left, so kind of flared out from the big toes. So you kind of feel your hips open just a little bit more, push back through the backs of the legs. And then we're going to walk our hands all the way forward. So walk forward into a downward facing dog, press into those hands, belly super strong. Pedal out your feet, so drop your right heel to the ground, let your left heel lift, and then left heel to the ground, right heel lift. So keep pedaling, or walk your dog, as they say. Check in with that core. Activate through the back as opposed to the neck. So then level off your feet. Turn your head left and right, up and down, just circle it around lots of different ways. And then drop onto your knees and hinge back into a child's pose, keeping your toes curled under and your hips pushing back nice and far. Reach your arms way out in front of you and keep your elbows up off the ground. Feel the shoulder blades push down the spine, but keep the belly going strong. Push back into your hands, drive your hips up and back, straight back into that downward facing dog. Belly contracts. Take a deep inhale, exhale, come forward and hold a high plank for just a second. Tuck your tailbone, elbows pinch in, reach long through the spine, get flexion through the belly. Deep inhale, and then exhale, push back. We're going to go 3 more of those. Inhale, exhale forward. Inhale, exhale back. 2, get a nice big stretch. Inhale, exhale forward. Inhale, exhale back. 1 more. Inhale, exhale forward. Tuck that tailbone. Inhale, exhale back. Grab deep into the belly and walk your hands back toward your toes. So as we're walking back, I want you to try to keep your hips as level as possible. Inhale, bring your arms all the way up. And then exhale, dive over the legs again. And then we're going to walk our hands out. All the way forward into that plank. Tuck your tailbone. And then push your hips up and back. Walk your hands back to your toes. Bring your body all the way up. Reach your arms up overhead. And then exhale, drop down. Walk your hands forward. If you need to bend your knees, that's totally fine. But do your best to try to keep those hips level as you're walking forward and as you're walking back. See if you can get your shoulders all the way up over those wrists. Elbows turn back toward your toes. Feel the back engage, your butt tuck under, your thighs engage, and then focus on that belly. And then push hands back. Come all the way up. All the way down. Walk forward. We have 2 more. Walking out, holding a nice, good, solid few seconds in that plank. Not super long, so really tighten in. Find your flexions. Pull your hands back toward toes, toes toward hands. That builds the tension in the core. Push your hips up and back. Drive your hands back toward your toes. Arms come all the way up. One more time. Walk your hands out. Keep the belly firm. Get all the way up over those wrists. Tuck your tailbone under. Push your hips up and back. Walk your hands back toward your toes. And then come up one more time. All right, widen your feet out so that they're mat width or maybe just a little bit wider. And then we're going to squat all the way down. Find that little yogi squat. Depending on your knees and hips, you might have to rotate just a bit side to side. Still have my moments, depending on what time of day it is, how much I've been doing. Can't really go quite straight into my low squat. So do whatever it takes for you. Maybe you can drop straight in. That's great. Push your elbows into knees, open your chest, get that back flat, core still on. All right, plant back onto your hands, walk yourself back into your down dog, and we're gonna do a shift forward and back. So plant nice and strong, big wide fingertips. You're gonna take your right hand, reach back towards your left ankle, and then you're gonna come forward. Let's see, I might have too short of a plank. Come forward and grab a quick little plank here, reaching that right arm forward. Press back and come forward. If it doesn't work for you, don't worry about it. Just plant your hand on the ground and keep shifting forward and back like we have. Otherwise, slide into that left shoulder blade. Tuck your tailbone. Super good for your back. Range of motion through that shoulder and your core. Reach back. Last one, come forward. Plant your hand, other side. Push into the right hand, tap back, reach forward, tap back, reach forward. 3, 4, reach. 5, come forward. Plant your hands, push back down dog, and then drop onto your elbows for a dolphin pose. Elbows drop down. Bring your feet a little closer together. Drive those hips up and back. Relax through the neck. Put the work into the back and the core. Stay strong through the belly and the back. All right, on your next exhale, see if you can push back up onto your hands. Hold a plank one more time. Grab deep through that core. Plant onto your left hand. Rotate to the right. Bring your right arm up. Bring your arm down. Rotate to the left. Focus on the core. Try to move your hips with the shoulders to the right, to the left, to the the right, open it up to the left, to the right, and the left. One more time each side. To your right and to your left. Perfect. All right, back to that plank. Drive your hips up, walk your hands back toward your toes. All right, let's get going with the roller. So bring it down, and we are going to start lying on our back. And the roller is going to be at the base of your skull. So right where the skull kind of ends and your neck begins, you should find those little pressure points, those little nubbies at the end of at the bottom of your head, base of your skull. And then just make sure that you have some little pressure on that roller. Then we're going to look to the left and then the right. So keep driving your head down into that roller. And even though this is higher in the skull than it is down on your shoulders, it ends up really helping to relax my traps. If I ever have a tight neck, traps, those muscles between your ears and shoulders that I'm always telling you to relax, they end up tight for whatever reason. This really helps to work that out. Okay, so once you have your left and right side to side done, make sure your roller's still right here. We're going to turn head to the left and then lift your chin. So the roller's going to roll just a little. Lift and lower that chin. Like you're looking to the left and then you're nodding up and down. One more. Back to the right. Same thing. Look up. Tuck down. Don't worry about your range. This should feel good. Last one. Back to center. Straight up and down. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then just roll the roller just a little bit deeper to the base of your spine, your neck, and you can kind of barely feel it on the tops of your shoulders. And then just rest here a second. Just relax into the roller. Don't clench anything, grab anything, tighten anything. Just let it relax. Perfect. Okay, from here, we're going to keep rolling that roller down the body. So you're going to lift up, put the roller at the top of the back, bend back into those knees, plant your feet on the ground, then lift the hips. You can rest the head in the hands. In fact, it feels pretty good on the shoulders, and it'll help support your neck and head. So if you want, rest your head in your hands, and then just gently roll up and down, just to the base of your scapula. So right at about where your mid-back is. Lean a little to the right, back into your center. Lean a little bit to your left. Now, depending on how tender you are, you might need to just stop and kind of take a couple breaths. You have a little tender point. You don't have to always keep rolling. And depending on how tender you are, that's a really good indication of how dehydrated your fascia is, how tight and rigid, and how much more of this you need. So just kind of keep rolling back and forth that upper body. You're finding those different spots, whatever feels good. All right. And then we're going to move it just a little lower. You do want to be super careful if you end up putting the roller down onto the low back. In fact, most places that you read from or find information on, the foam roller will suggest not to go very low. It's just a lot of pressure on the organs and into the low back. But you can kind of decide. I really like how it feels for me, but I'm always very cautious and aware. So you have to keep that core a little bit tight. Be gentle, go slow. Just make sure you're not overdoing anything in the low back. Rounding just a little. I kind of lean to the right, lean to the left. Getting a little bit into those hamstrings as well. Pushing yourself forward and back. You can kind of play around with the arch of your back as well. So sometimes it feels good to kind of let the back be a little bit more flat or open, or sometimes hunker in, round a little bit more over. So again, you kind of decide. Everybody's body is different, and what feels good for you may not feel good for someone else or for me. So you need to find what feels good here. Although there is an aspect of hurting so good on the roller. Okay, moving on down, we're going to hit our glutes. Keep the roller the way that it is. We're just going to take a nice little roll on our booty. Staying kind of short rotations right now. Nothing too crazy as far as amount of roll that we're getting. So I'm still kind of leaning back, upper glute a little bit more, lean to the left, lean to the right. Helps to relax the muscles that you're rolling. Okay, so now I'm going to just shift a little bit. So I'm a little bit higher up on the roller. So it's at the base of my glute a bit. On the left side, take your right leg, cross it over, and then you're going to keep rolling here. So you have some help pushing into that right foot, your left hand, and then you kind of rotate around. So you can kind of push more into the back of your glute, and then the side, sneaking into that IT band area there a bit, rolling with different directions of the muscle fibers. Okay, and then we will go ahead and roll down the side. This is another one that has a little bit of controversy as far as whether or not you should roll here. The IT band is not a muscle, right? It's more like this super long tendon. And so sometimes can be counterproductive to roll that. But I find that it really does help my knees, keep my legs happy. A lot of people have found a lot of help from rolling on that side. So your IT band starts kind of up behind your glute and then comes to the cross your quad and then inserts onto the inside of the knee. All right, let's hit up the other side. Starting off, just staying on that glute. Cross the leg over. If you like how that feels, you can get a little bit more into the side. Helps increase blood flow to the area, increases hydration. I hope everyone has been doing well with their water and hydration, but especially after a session like this, or kind of like they tell you once you get a massage, really focus on making sure that you're rehydrating well. That is super important. All right, and then we'll go up and down a little bit more for that IT band if you like. Might be a little tender, might hurt a little bit, and that's okay, but ultimately try to find where it feels good. Usually you can tell if something hurts a little, it's still gonna end up being positive, giving back to you. All right, moving on down the body, we are going to go into our hamstrings. So, start a little close. Lift up your hips again. If you need a little bit of help, depending on how much stability or mobility you have or don't have in your hands and arms, then maybe it would be helpful to bring the floor up to you. So you can put your weights or blocks or books behind and raise the floor a little bit, depending on what feels good for you and if the floor feels too far away to get that full lift in your hips. Try to relax the bottom part of your legs from your knees down. If you find you want a little more pressure, then cross one leg over the other. A little bit here. Never too pretty looking at it. all the legs and the skin and everything getting mushed. Don't worry about that. All right. Before we hit the calves, we're going to go ahead and flip it over and hit quads. This has become one that I do really love doing. Feels like they always kind of need it a little extra. Elbows on the ground. Tuck your tailbone just a bit. Try to stay relaxed, though, still in your legs. Get yourself moved forward and back. And then angling your toes, your feet in or out, your hips, right or left. That's going to change where you're getting different parts of your quad. So just keep moving everything around, shifting, get different parts of those quads. Kind of move up to the base of your pelvis, very top, your thigh. All right. Then we're going to flip back over and hit our calves. This is one that works really well, helps a lot if you have been having foot, calf, ankle issues from running or jumping rope. Try to relax your feet. Go up and down those calves. Again, just like we did with your quads, rotating your toes, your feet, your legs in and out to get different parts of the calf. And then depending on how much tension and pressure you want to feel, you can cross one ankle over the other to put a little more weight on that calf. Hit that other one. Notice the differences side to side. My left calf is quite a lot more tender than my right. Okay, so find kind of the most tender spot on your calf. And then you're going to sit the hips, keep the roller still, and just rotate back and forth on the muscle. So the roller stays still. There's a term for this, but I can't remember it. Keep your feet relaxed. I always like to flex them up, but I want to keep them relaxed. You're supposed to keep them relaxed. Okay, shift just a little, rotate again. Shift a little again, rotate. Perfect. Okay, we are going to move the roller the other direction now. So, long ways on your mat. And we're going to start with the glutes again. So, I know we already rolled the glutes, but going this direction is also super beneficial. So, just sit one cheek on the roller, roll back and forth. Like I was saying, your Muscle fibers go all sorts of different directions, so rolling different directions with those fibers or against them will help change up just what you're getting. Okay, then the other side. Go as far in or out as feels good for you. Remember, this is for you. Rest, recover, give back to those muscles. All you've been working hard, gearing up to work really hard again. Okay, shift all the way to the edge of your roller, just like we did the other day, and then lie all the way back. So you want from your tailbone to the back of your head, completely supported on the roller. Put your arms out wide, then roll to the left and roll to the right. Back to the left, back to the right. Definitely use those hands for some support on the ground. And kind of notice here, one side feels a little bit higher than the other. My right side is definitely usually a little more raised. It's good to know that. It's good to be in touch with your body, recognize what's going on. Okay, level off, and we're gonna go some chest stretches. So bend your elbows, the backs of your hands are on the ground. My elbows are probably at about a 45-degree angle from my shoulder at this point, and I can feel that stretch already in the front of my shoulder and in my pecs. Rotate your shoulder heads back. Try to keep your elbows, the forearms, your hands, the backs of your hands on the ground. Get to that point where they're going to lift off and then just hold. Inhales and exhales. See if you can lift just a little higher, opening that chest. Keep the shoulders rolled back. Relax everywhere else. Okay, and then reach your arms all the way up overhead. And then elbows tuck in, back toward the roller. Inhale up. Exhale, tuck back. 2 more. Inhale up. Exhale, tuck back. Keep those shoulders wrapped around your roller. Neck is relaxed. Tuck in. Perfect. All right, bring the body up. We're going to go into our arms, our forearms real quick. So just stay on your knees, and you're going to put the wrists on your roller, butts up in the air behind you, kind of like a puppy dog pose. Roll forward and then back. Point your thumbs up, roll forward, back. Palms face the ground. And then see if you can get your palms to point away from you with your thumbs pointing at the ground. Back to the front. And then roll all the way around so that the palms are facing the sky. Good. And then hang out here a second, just reaching forward. Those palms are up, butts in the air. Feel the chest press toward the ground. All right, and then we're going to try for a little chest roll. So you're going to angle the roller off away from you to the back. So it's not angling up, it's angling back. Lie all the way down on your belly. And then see if you can get the roller. It's going to be a real small movement. Get the roller tucked into your shoulder and chest area. And then it's a real small roll, but you just kind of hinge and roll over the roller and then back. As always, just make those little adjustments along the way. Whatever feels good. I can tell I don't do this much. This one's pretty tender. Breathe with it. Get as far as feels good for you. Find that spot, tender spot, and maybe move your arm a little bit. Not moving it much, just enough to kind of dig a little deeper into that tender point. Again, you can kind of rotate your arm around, feel it where you want to feel it. Okay. Oh man, right there. Bend the elbow back, push forward. I'm feeling that one. Let's go to the other side. Lie back down. Rollers on that left side now. Roll forward and back. 5 minutes a day. Pick a body part. Roll. It would be a great experiment in how it makes your body feel. The joints feel, the muscles. All right, find a spot, rotate around through that shoulder, through the arm. If it feels tender, you got to kind of breathe with it, breathe through it. All right, get rid of that roller. Push your hips up and back, stretch way out in front. So the hips go back, child's pose is what we're doing. Reach those arms. We started here, hopefully it feels a little bit different. I do, I definitely feel a difference. If you check in and kind of take time to note, you can feel a difference in the body after you get that roll. All right, curl your toes under. Walk your hands back to your feet. Take a little forward stretch here. Lift those toes up. Set them down. Lift the heels up. Set them down. Grab through that belly. Come all the way to standing. All right. You made it through recovery week. I am looking forward to seeing you back for another round of some good old formatting, sweating, and weightlifting. So see you soon.